What's up, guys? Pepe here with an update on the NSX. I have been working on cabling and all that. I have some videos about that, all the new stereo stuff. But I wanted to just give an update on the RetroSound retrofit. So I ended up making some brackets, new brackets, because I basically destroyed this one. And funny enough, I made them, I put them in the wrong place. Anyways, they had to be a little bit farther, but I bend them over and it's fine. So it's far better attached. I use rivets on here to hold it. Works really well. If I had a 3D printer, I will print a bracket and so that it holds the stereo, in a better place. And there's a lot of 3D printing you can do here to make this better. And I worked on the Illumination. I posted some pictures, so that's how it looks like. Basically, if you want to do this and use the same original connector, this is not that difficult. You see, I welded against the original connector and put shrink, what is it called, thermal shrink, or I forgot. Anyways, that thing on the cable so that they don't touch each other and so on. I decided to install an amp. Well, there was an amp in the car, and even though I bought component speakers, they sound really well, but with the amps they sound way better. So reusing the amp. I might change the amp at some point in the future, because I have a B class amp and this one is a D class, so it's a smaller. At some point I might change it, I don't know, but for now, with the amp that I have, they runs really well. So that's why I connected I put these cables out so I can connect the amp. And what else I did, the only thing I'm missing is the amp signal wire that I have to connect one of these quick connector things, and that's it. I mean, I just connected the stereo. I tested the display. It works. It turns on. So it's all good. I just need that cable for the signal for the amp off, and that's about it. So I put the like Nelson Kwon, that he posted some pictures. I put the mic here. I never call in my car ever. You could run this mic all the way through the headliner. It comes with a really long cable. I don't care. I just put it there. If I ever call, well, we'll get close to the stereo. One thing I did that took a lot of time, I don't know if I would recommend it for anyone to do, is I connected the Illumination signal, which is A3 here. This one, one of this, this one. I connected that guy, and I run new LEDs with 240 ohms resistors, and I basically grind all the original circuit board and install the LEDs in the same place that the other ones. These ones are round, the other ones are flat, but I put them in the same place basically. And the reason why I had to grind down the circuit board is because I cut off the circuit board. I'm using the circuit board of the original stereo. Here's where the original display was, to put the RetroSound display that I took off from the little display box that it comes from. And so I used this circuit board so that I am in the same angle that the original display was. You see that it's not straight, so that's why I use the same circuit board, so it's actually facing the right way on the display here, which is in an angle. So that's why I use it that way, and it was fairly easy. I just put screws there, like make the hole and measure it up and cut it. But then I was like, oh, I really want the lights and so on. So I took a really long time to wire all these up. So these are all 2 in series 30 milliamp LEDs, very standard ones, with 240 ohm resistors, so one resistor for 2 LEDs. So I connected all these guys. This is how they work. All these guys are 2 LEDs, one resistor, 2 LED, one resistor. Here there is 2 LEDs. Here there is 2 LEDs, one resistor, 2 LEDs, one resistors, one resistor, 2 LEDs, I think, one resistor, and I think I connected one in here and one in there. No, sorry, 2 LEDs, one resistor, 2 LEDs, one resistor. That's how I think how it works. So basically, there is one cable per area. No, not really, but anyways, what I'm trying to say is that you just have to feed the power from positive and negative, and try to not mess it up. What I messed up quite a lot was that I connected one LED to one of these 240 ohm resistors. You have to like check with whatever LEDs you have, the specs and voltage drop and all that, and buy the correct resistors. And that's why I end up pairing them up, because if I didn't pair them up, they will burn, they will burn out, because I was passing too much current to it. Anyhow, too much voltage, not current. So why is that? Is because basically the power supply of all this is actually 5 volts. So what I did is that a friend had this. I need my 2 hands. Let me undo this for you. Come on. So, okay, here we are. So, sorry, I don't have a tripod with me now. So this is a 12 volt to 5 volt voltage. It's not a voltage regulator. It's a step down regulator, whatever it's called, and basically works between 5 volts up to 12 volts, and it gives you an output of 5 volts. This is for USBs basically. And so I connected this to the Illumination signal on the original cable, which is basically on off 10 volts. That's why you get 10 volts. It's not 12, it's 10. So, and that's why I had to put the resistors and all that, because this is 5 volts and these resistors are 3.3 volts. And I had to dim them down to the original ones. So with this you get 5 volts. It works really well, and basically these guys all have a 240 ohm resistor, every single one of them. But the original ones, so this guys here up here, I just reused this board, and these guys have a 320 ohm resistor in the circuit board, and I basically found which cable was the right one to connect them, and that's how I turned these ones on. And I did the same one with the bottom board for these buttons here. So what happened at the beginning, originally, is that I did it that way, and then what happened is that all these lights, the new ones that I installed, they were super bright, way too bright. It was like a Christmas tree, and these ones were very dim, because I'm still using the original resistors and LEDs. So what I had to do is I added to the feed of this 5 volt thingamajiggy a 1k ohm resistor to drop the current, and that way I dimmed them down to the same as the ones on the bottom, the original ones. So basically these guys here, which are still the original board, you see that the original board is just positive and negative, and these ones down here, they still use the, you can see here, you see that's the original board. It's the same board I just connected the proper cables to turn on the LEDs for this side, not this side, because that's when you press the button and turn it on. And that's how I dim all the new ones that I installed because they were too bright. I just added here. There is a 1K resistor, and those 3 cables basically turn on all these circuits. And yeah, and it works. So the other thing I did just to make sure, because my LEDs are still too bright, is I Sharpie from the inside all these lines that they only turn on when you press the buttons, but the only things that these buttons are turning on, but they don't have any functions. These RetroSound stereos, they are all controlled by this and this, and these are the original knobs, which I'm still not sure what I'm going to do, but these are the original knobs, which I basically cut. I grind off, and then in this ones I basically put a piece of metal there. I heat it up with a torch, and I just weld it in so that I can put them on this type of connector, which is different than the original. And I wanted to keep the original, and I wanted to keep the illumination thing, because I put LEDs in the bottom. If you look here, I have LEDs down there. Those 2 LEDs, those are the LEDs I bought. So I just wanted to keep it that original, and that's why I keep the same knob. But I think it's better to just use the RetroSound knobs, which I do have. I bought the plastic ones, and they fit perfectly here, and they don't have any, lettering or anything. So I might use those. These ones work. Yeah, I was just wanted to make it really fancy with the lights and all that. So I will test these out. If I don't like them, I would just put the RetroSounds. But that's basically what it is. Is a lot of work to do the lighting, yes. If you know a little bit more about electronics than me, that my knowledge is really basic, you could do this. But if you just want to do the RetroSound retrofit, you just use the same board, forget about all the lighting, cut this thing, put it in, cover all the rest of because the display is longer than this one. So I put electrical tape to hide at the spots you can see through. And here to install this knobs thingies, I basically cut a plastic pipe that I had in 45 degrees, and I put one side here and one side here. And so that's how they're basically going straight. And two of these nuts here in the back, and it doesn't move. Basically, I just line them, and they're pretty strong. It doesn't move at all. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, I wanted to make it look as original as possible, and I wanted the lights and all that, and it's all cool. But if you just want to do the retrofit, you can just use the original cables that come with the RetroSound, and buy one of those SOS connectors for the stereo and do it that way if you want, and just hang the cables through here, or you can do it this way and disorder this connector from the stereo, the old stereo circuit board, and then connect it this way. There's many different ways of doing it. This is how I did it. I kept the original cables on the car for the stereo, so if I ever sell the car one time, and then and they want to use original cabling, well, it's there, and this will work with original cabling. Or you can use an amp through these cables, like I'm going to do, and I'm going to connect the USB and the aux cable in the console, the arm rest thing. I'm going to pass the cables there and put it there very stealth, so you don't see it. And yeah, and that's it. That's all I did. Is ready to install. So I'm going to just buy a little box for this guy, so I can enclose it here and drop it there. And yeah, and that's about it. that's the update. I tested the stereo. It works wonders. You know, Bluetooth works and sounds amazing. Even without the amp, it sounds really good with the speakers I bought, which are Infinity reference component speakers, which are this guys here. That's the crossover, and the speakers, which are these guys. Which model it is? I can't remember which model it is. And that's the amp that I'm ready. I actually run cables through the original connectors on the door. So these cables that go there and drop there are brand new. They're going to be connected to the amp that was installed before by someone else. I'm reusing that amp. It's not the best, but it sounds really good. And I did the same in the other door. I had to remove obviously the fender to access the cable here down here. So anywho, that's what I did. Okay, that's the last update. No more updates about the stereo. If this thing blows up, it blows up. I don't think it will, but you know, I would. If the LEDs die, they die. I'm not going to do this again. It's way too much work. I spent way too much time on doing this. Although if I was going to do it again, for example, now I know how to do it, so it will be easier the second time around. But unless that I buy another NSX, I don't know if I'm going to do it again. So, anywho, that's it. I hope this is enough information for you to try it. If you have any questions, let me know. I will try to answer all your questions, and have a good day. Take care. Here's the update of the RetroSound stereo. I turn off the lights so you guys can see. That's turning on. And now I'm going to turn on the lights of the car, so the dim lights will, well, not dim lights, the back lights should turn on. There it is. So they're working there. And let me see here. And you can turn the brightness on, low, and it changes here. So that's maximum brightness. Anywho, I had trouble pronouncing that word. Anyways, so that's the stereo working, and now I'm going to try to see if it will mute. No.
The camp was built, and it's right next to where somebody lived.
That's so, the stereo running.
You know, I think that
if I turn off the lights,
signs would lead to the fact that it was planted by someone who lived in the barrack adjacent to it.
If I turn off the lights will go on. And yeah, that will be stereo running. I'm going to turn this light on. So yeah, so it's working as expected. Bluetooth obviously work, but if I do that, I will lose the camera, so I can't do it right now. But anyhow, that's it. That's how it looks like.